Jammalamadaka Suryanarayana garu. He like Jammalamadaka Srinivas garu, he also is training people in Shastra. Both these brothers are actually training people based on classical music and puja paddhati and many other methods. Whatever people are engaged in, they are using that and they are bringing them into Shastra and Sanskrit. Actually, they both of them wrote a manual for training Purohits also in their Purohit kind of Sanskrit writing. And Jammalamadaka Suryanarayana garu has a wonderful way of explaining things. When Krishna Chaitanya garu was asking me whether he would be able to follow Suryanarayana garu or not, I told him that he is a very lucid teacher, very student-friendly teacher, and he is going to explain to you in a very lucid manner. You are going to see, all of you are going to see how lucidly he explains such profound concepts like Chhala and Jaati. Over to you, Dr. Jammalamadaka Suryanarayana.
Thank you, sir, for your very, what you say, user-friendly introduction. Thank you very much. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste everyone. Today I am going to talk about Chhala and Jaati and its role in the Bharatiya debating system. Before we even go into the actual topic, I want to give a overall picture of what is Bharatiya debating system. Generally, in the darshanas, we have two types. We all know that Astika and Nastika. So in those Astika and Nastika darshanas, Gautama Maharshi in his Nyaya Darshana dealt with the debating techniques extensively. So I shall just briefly introduce what is his solution to the life, or what is his solutions for the problems we all generally face, because darshanas are those granthas which give us the perspective towards dealing the problems. It might be day-to-day problems, or it might be the life changing or life goals kind of a thing also. So this is the brief mind map that we have prepared, what Gautama Maharshi had before he even started writing Nyaya Sutra. This is a simple technique called Shastra map technique. So through this technique, we have mapped what all concepts he had in his mind in the primary stage. So the first sutra he gave us is Pramana Prameya Samshaya Prayojana Drishtanta Siddhanta Vayavatarka Nirnayavada Jalpa Vitanda Hetva Bhasa Chala Jati Nigrahasthananam Tattvajnanan Nishreyasadhigamaha. This is the first sutra. The meaning of this sutra is one who want to attain Nishreyasam or Moksha, it would only happen because of Tattvajnana or the eternal truth. Regarding what? Regarding 16 elements. So his proposition is this: if you understand these 16 elements in the right way, you would actually gain moksha. So he is giving a very simple solution for all those problems we have. And for this Rishi or Gautama, moksha is nothing but getting rid of all kinds of sorrows. That is moksha for him. So for that, he is actually enumerating 16 elements. These are called as padarthas. And knowing these padarthas will actually get rid of all the sorrows we have. So in the second sutra, he is saying that how will we get rid of all those dukkhas? What is the process? By knowing all the 16 elements, how can we get out of this cycle of dukkhas, cycle of sorrow? So he is giving the explanation in the second sutra. Dukkha janma pravritti dosha mithya jnananam uttarottarapaye tadanantarapayadapavargaha. He is saying that because of tattva jnana, you will be eradicating mithya jnana. Mithya jnana is nothing but the illusion. Illusion about what? Illusion about the world. Now, in the first place, if you are knowing all the elements as it is, if you have the valid knowledge, okay, validated knowledge and valid knowledge of all the elements this world have, then you have very less possibility to have an illusion about these things. So if you don't have illusion, there is no dosha. Dosha is nothing but kama, krodha, moha. Kama is desire, krodha is anger. So in that way, without having mithya jnana, you will not have dosha. Without dosha, there is no pravritti. Pravritti is meant as papa and punya in this context. If you don't have papa and punya, there is no next janma, there is no next birth. If there is no next birth, there is no possibility of next dukkha. So all the dukkha that you are going to experience in this janma, that will be the last dukkha. And when you actually complete experiencing all the dukkhas, that itself is the state of nishreyasam. That is how he is stating. So this is the brief introduction of the thought what Gautama had. If you see the list of padarthas he is mentioning here, so there are 16 padarthas. You can start from here. Pramana, okay, prameya, samshaya, prayojana, drishtanta, siddhanta, avayava, tarka, nirnaya, vada, jalpa, vitanda, hetvabhasa, chala, jati, nigrahasthana. These are the 16 elements or padarthas what Gautama Maharshi wanted us to know. Why? If you know all these 16 padarthas as it is, if you are in a state to apply, do the samanvaya of this world according to these 16 padarthas, he is suggesting that you will not have sorrow, or you will not have new sorrows. That is the kind of suggestion he is giving us. So how is that possible? Number one. Number two, if you keenly observe these 16 elements, most of them are related to debating techniques, and most of them are related to epistemology, means of valid knowledge. So we'll go one by one. So first of all, pramana is nothing but the means of knowledge. There are 4 kinds of pramanas: pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, and shabda. Number 2, pramana is directly or indirectly related to debating techniques. How? First of all, we shall know what is a debate. So debate is that when two people with different ideas, two people with different ideologies, two people with different understandings converse within themselves, that can be called as debate. And that debate is actually called as katha in Nyaya Shastra. I think in the previous talk you would have understood what is katha. So when two people with different ideas are interacting, there the usage of pramanas will be there. There can be a usage of pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, and shabda. I think most of you know what is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is the direct perception we get by using our sensory organs. Anumana is inference. Upamana is that knowledge you get out of analogy or sadrishya, similarity. And Shabda is the verbal testimony. Okay, so we use pramana there. In the same way, the third element of the padartha which is used, which is told, is samshaya. So why people actually interact? They might interact because they have some doubts. This is one possibility. To eradicate doubts, to get rid of doubts, also people interact with others. For example, I have a doubt whether I am infected with dengue or malaria or any other thing. So to get that doubt erased, so to destroy that doubt, I might visit a pathologist, or I might visit a doctor and ask. That is also a kind of a katha. So I might have a understanding that I don't have malaria, and the doctor who is actually giving me the consultation might have another opinion. So that kind of a interaction is also part of debate, and that the debate will result in removing the doubt. So the second or the third element which is enlisted by Gautama Maharshi is also related to debate. Number 4, we have prayojana. So prayojana is nothing but purpose. So any debate has purpose. Our debates are mainly divided into 3 things, 3 types of debates. They are called as Vada, Jalpa, and Vitanda. So Vada's prayojana is Tattvam or Satyam. Satyasthapanam is the Vada's purpose, main purpose. Jalpa's main purpose is to win over your opponent. And Vitanda is also a type of Jalpa, where we are not even establishing or not even stating our own paksha. When we are only interested in refuting your opponent's opinion, then it is Vitanda. When you state your own opinion and also refute your opponent, it is called as Jalpa. Both Jalpa and Vitanda's aim is to win over the opponent, and Vada's aim is to establish truth. So in all these 3 things, you have a prayojana. So the 4th element or padartha stated by Gautama Maharshi is also related to debate. Then we'll move on to the 5th one, which is drishtanta. Drishtanta is example. I think you all have understood the significance of example in the previous talk, where the Panchavayava Sthapana and the prominence of Panchavayavas is stated. So one of them is drishtanta. In the same way, we have Siddhanta. Ante Siddhaha Siddhanta. Siddhanta is the other padartha. Siddhanta is the final destination for Vada. Once Vada is done, a truth is established, and the truth is called as Siddhanta. So this is also having a relation with debating techniques. The next one is Avayava, Panchavayava. Just now we have heard about the significance of Panchavayava, where you have 5 different kinds of statements made by the debater. Okay, so those are Pratignya, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya, and Nigamana. I will not go into the details. I just wanted to draw your attention towards the significance of debating techniques told by Gautama Maharshi. So Avayava is also such padartha which is related to debating techniques. Next, we have Tarka. Tarka is also related to debating techniques. What is Tarka? Avijñata tattve arthe karanopapattihi tattvajnanartham uhaha tarkaha. I will just give a small example, because Tarka has a prominence in Vada. Okay, I will slowly establish that. What is Vada? Pramana Tarka sadhanopalambha siddhanta viruddha panchavayavopapannaha paksha pratipaksha parigraha vadaha. So there are many concepts involved in the process of Vada. What is Vada? Vada is paksha pratipaksha parigraha. Paksha is one side and pratipaksha is the other side. For example, if I have a idea that Atma is Nitya, Atma or the Chetana Padartha is Nitya. Nitya means eternal. So my matam or my statement is that Atma is eternal. Somebody states that Atma is not eternal, it will die. When your body is dying, your Atma is also dying. That is the other person's statement. So in a Vada, there should be a place for both of these statements. Both contradictory statements should have a space in it. When two sides are not having any contradiction between themselves, that can't be called as a Vada. For example, if I say Atma is eternal and Buddhi is not eternal, then the discourse which happens between these two sides will not be considered as Vada because there is no contradiction. So Paksha Pratipaksha Parigraha is that where contradiction is there between two parties. And it should have the Panchavayava. Just now you heard about that. It shouldn't be Siddhanta Viruddha. It should be Siddhanta Aviruddha. That also will go through. And mainly we have Pramana Tarka Sadhanopalambha. See, in a Vada, in a debate, where my destination is truth. My main purpose is to establish what is truth, then both of these contradictory views will not stay till the end. One side should be defeated, one should win, then only it will be truth. Okay, so for that we have two things here, sadhanam and upalambha. Sadhana is stating and upalambha means refuting. So how should I state my own paksha or my idea? I have to state using pramana. So just now we have gone through what are pramanas. So I have to use pratyaksham or anumanam or upamanam or shabda to actually state my idea. So that is what it's saying. Pramanena sadhanam, tarkena upalam. So what is tarka here? So tarkena upalambha. Upalambha means refuting your opponent. So now we'll go through what is tarka. Tarka is nothing but we'll just take a small example. If I say this mountain which is in front of me possesses fire because lot of smoke is coming out of that mountain. So this is the Anumana Prayoga I make. Anumana Prayoga is the first statement we use to convince your opponent. Okay, so that is the statement. So when I state this, if my opponent says, okay, I take that there is smoke in the mountain which is in front of you because I can also see that, but I will not agree upon that mountain having fire. So this is his refutal. Then my logic will be like this. My reasoning is something like this. If there was no fire, there will be no smoke. But you are cognizing smoke, hence there is fire. So this kind of a reverse logic, giving negating something by using this kind of a logic. If there was no fire, there will be no smoke because fire is the cause of smoke. This kind of a logic is called as tarka. So in Vada, in the first type of debate, Vada, tarka, the concept of tarka is used to refute your opponent. Okay, so tarka has a very significant role in Vada, and that is why our Gautama Maharshi is taking tarka as one of the padarthas. So next, what is the next padartha which is involved? That is called nirnaya. Nirnaya is nothing but the conclusion. Conclusion is a byproduct of debate. Conclusion happens when there are two contradictory parties arguing with each other, and at the end they derive with the nirnaya or the conclusion. and it has a very prominent part in Vada. So why am I stating this? I wanted to show the prominence of debating techniques throughout Nyaya Darshana. So after Nirnaya, we got directly Vada, Jalpa and Vitanda, the types of debate. Vada's destination is truth. Jalpa's and Vitanda's destination is winning over your opponent. Okay. So after that, we have Hetva Bhasa. And Hetva Bhasa is one another very, very important component in the process of debating techniques, in the process of debate. Why? What is Hetva Bhasa? Hetuvat abhasante iti Hetva Bhasa. Before I even briefly tell about what is Hetva Bhasa, I want to say that debate happens when both of them can't perceive the object of debate directly. See, I cannot debate whether there is sun or not, whether sun is rising in the east or not, because all of us know by using our sensory organs that sun is rising in the east every day. So there is no debate regarding that. But the debate is on such things which you can't perceive directly, like the thing Atma Nityovanava, like whether Atma is eternal or not. First of all, I cannot perceive others' Atma. I can only understand myself. And eternity is such a thing that we cannot perceive directly. So in such things only debate happens. So when debate is happening, Hetva Bhasa is a very prominent concept which enables us to identify the flaws of those reasonings done by your opponent. So the etymology of Hetva Bhasa is Hetuvat Abhasante iti Hetva Bhasa. Abhasa is pretending. So these reasons pretend as valid reasons until the Siddhanti finds out a flaw. See, all cognitions are true, or all cognitions pretend to be true till they are proved false. In the same way, the opponent is also trying to make some reasoning in the debate. So till you find faults in those debates, in those reasonings, it is taken to be true. So in that way, Hetva Bhasa, the concept of Hetva Bhasa is dealing with invalid reasonings. And then comes Chhala and Jaati and Nigrahasthana. These are the three elements which are used in Jalpa and Vitanda. Hetva Bhasa is also related to debating techniques. Chhala, Jaati, Nigrahasthana is also related to debating techniques. Hence, I say that Gautama Maharshi packed everything in his darshana which are only related to debating techniques. So now, after giving a brief introduction of all the kinds of padarthas which are involved in debating techniques, now we'll go into Chhala and Jati. What is Chhala and what is Jati? With small examples, I will try to introduce these concepts. First of all, Chhala. In our regional languages also, we use this word chal. In Hindi, chal karna, chalamu cheyaddu, in Telugu. In other languages also, I think we use this word chala. Chala, what is chala? Vachana vighataha artha vikalpopapatya. Vachana vighataha. Vachanam is the statement which we make. Vighata is obstructing something. Artha vikalpopapatya. When you are identifying different kinds of meanings to the words used by one of the debater, when you are using the unintended meaning of that particular word, then it is called as chalam. And this chalam is again divided into three. We are going into the examples of those three types also in this talk. In the same way, we have Jati. Jati is nothing but Sadharmya Vaidharmyabhyam Pratyavasthanam Jati. By manipulating similarity and dissimilarity in a statement, when you manipulate similarity and dissimilarity, and you want to twist the statement, that is called as Jati. So we'll also go through some examples which are needed here. Okay. First of all, we shall go into the details of Jalpa and Vitanda. Previously, I have stated that both Jalpa and Vitanda are those kinds of argumentation techniques where our target is only to win over your opponent, and it is not to establish truth. So what is the lakshanam or the sutram given for Jalpa? It is yathoktopapannaha chalajati nigrahasthana sadhanopalambha Jalpaha. If you remember, we were talking about sadhana and upalambha in Vada also. Sadhana is establishing your state, your idea, and upalambha is refuting your opponent's idea. So in Vada, only the concept called tarka is used to refute your opponent. But in Jalpa, as my intention is not to establish truth, my intention is to only win over my opponent, I can use Chhala, Jaati, and also Nigrahasthana to actually refute my opponent. So Chhala, Jati is actually twisting something, manipulating words, manipulating meanings, manipulating the processes of inferences is called as Chala and Jati. I can use these concepts when my intention is only to win over my opponent. Then now we'll see what is Vitanda. Vitanda is Saha Pratipakshasthapana Vitanda. See, in Vitanda, I will not even state what is my idea. My only intention is to win over my opponent. I will not even allow him to establish what he wants. I will continuously come in between his statements, and I will continuously try to twist the meaning of the sentence, deviate the process of inference and all those things. So that kind of an argument is called as Vitanda. So now we have understood what is Vada, what is Jalpa, what is Vitanda. Now we'll go into the details of Chala and Jati with some examples. So here we have understood that Chalam is of 3 types. Okay. And we also understood the definition of Chalam. When you are manipulating the words used by your opponent to your benefit, then it is called as Chalam. This Chalam is of 3 types, which are Vak Chalam, where you are directly manipulating the verb. The second is Samanya Chalam. Samanyam means generalizing something. When you are using this concept called generalization to manipulate your opponent's statement, then it is called as Samanya Chalam. And there is the third one, which is called as Upachara Chalam. Upachara Chalam is also a kind of manipulation we do in the level of Shakti and Lakshana. I will show an example and try to explain what is Upachara Chalam. So first of all, we shall go into the first kind of Chalam, which is Vak Chalam. The sutra is Avisheshabhihite Arthe Vaktuhu Abhiprayat Arthantara Kalpana Vak Chalam. Vakta is the person who is stating something. He can be called as the Purva Paksha or the Uttara Paksha. One person in the argumentation. So, Vaktur Abhiprayat, he has an intention. Okay. Tasmat Abhiprayat Arthantara Kalpana. When we are twisting the words towards the meanings which are not intended by the Vakta, then it is called as Vakchalam. We can take a very simple example. So the example is directly given in the Vyasa Bhashya, the Bhashya of Gautama Nyaya Sutra. So there is a statement called Navakambaloyam Manavakaha. Manavaka means a boy. Navakambalaha is a compound word. See, whenever there are compound words, we can actually bring different meanings out of those words. In the same way, this word can have at least two kinds of meanings. Number one, Navaha Kambalaha Yasya Saha. Navaha means new. So the word Nava has two meanings here. New and also nine. Nava is also called as nine. Nine is also one another meaning for the word Nava. Navaha Kambalaha Yasya Saha. A boy who has new Kambala means what you say, chaddar or the blanket. Okay, a boy who has new blanket can also be called as Navakambalaha. In the same way, a person or a boy who has 9 blankets, because the meaning of the word Nava is also 9. So a boy who has 9 blankets is also Navakambala. Now, in a debate, these kinds of compound words or these kinds of words which are called as nanartha words can be twisted according to the intention of the opponent. So the actual intention of the argumenter or the debater is a person has one new blanket, but the opponent might fix it or twist it that why a person wants 9 blankets, something like that. So when he is twisting using the nanartha component of that word or nanartha ability of that word, and he is now using an unintended meaning, then it is called as Vakchala. Hope you all understood this. We'll just move on to the next one. The second one is called as Samanya Chalam. First of all, we should understand what is Samanya. Samanya means generalizing something. For example, I can say in this talk, there are two kinds of people who are attending, men and women. I can generalize. So here, menness or purushatvam in Sanskritam is one Samanyam, and stritvam or womanness is the second quality or the generalizing agent. Okay. So in this way, when I am manipulating that generalization or the concept of generalization, then it is called as Samanya Chala. The sutram is something like this. Sambhavatorthasya atisamanya yogat asambhutartha kalpana samanya chalam. See, Sambhavatorthasya atisamanya yogat. The word atisamanya is very, very important here. Generalization can happen in different levels. I can say that we all are living beings. So the generalization here is living beingness. Okay, chetanatvam in Sanskritam. So there is another generalization again, purushatvam and stritvam, being male and female. And there can be further generalization, Indian and non-Indian. There can be further generalization. In that way, generalization can happen at different levels. Okay. So when the opponent is using unintended level of generalization, then it can be called as Samanya Chalam. Once you go through the example, it will be very easy to you understand. So there is one proposition, something like this. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a fantastic orator. This is one statement. See, in any debate, we are only using Anumana Pramana or the process of inference. In Anumana Pramana, we have an entity called Panchavayava Vakya. I think you all understood that. Anumana is of two types, Swarthanumana and Pararthanumana. When you are willing to convince your opponent, you will be using different statements which are called as Panchavayavas. So in that Panchavayavas, there are different kinds of statements like Pratignya, Hetu, Udaharana, so on and so forth. Now you just assume that this is a Pratignya, this is a proposition. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a fantastic orator. This is the Pratignya I make. And the Purvapakshi say, then Uddhav Modi, my friend, will also be a fantastic orator because he is also a Modi. He is also having Modi in his name. See, So if I try to define what is Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a very old, RSS pracharak. He worked in the field for many years. He gained lot of knowledge. He worked as chief minister of a state for many 10 years or 12 years. So there is lot of data which is related to Narendra Modi. So if you want me to define who is Narendra Modi, there are many things. So in those many things, the opponent is only taking one part. Atisamanya yogat. You have to understand. So the most generalized thing he's taking the name Modi, and he is applying. So here in the statement, Narendra Modi is a fantastic orator. Being a fantastic orator is the thing I am proposing now. It is called as Videya. In any proposition, there will be an Uddeshya and a Videya. I am intending something. I'm telling something. This particular person is a fantastic orator. So being a fantastic orator is the Videya. But this person, the Purvapakshi is saying, he want to actually deviate the argument. He want to deviate the argument. So he is using this Samanya Chhala. He is taking a very generalized term, which is Modi, and saying, if Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a fantastic orator, then my friend who has a part of his name, Modi, will also be a fantastic orator. Hence, he should not be a fantastic orator. That is the way he is leading the discussion towards. So this kind of a chalam is called as Samanya Chalam. There is one another example in the Vyasa Bhashya. So there is a statement something like this. Aho khalvasau brahmanaha vidyacharana sampannaha. Asau brahmanaha, this Brahman is vidya acharana sampannaha, who has lot of vidya, means wisdom, and also acharana, he is practicing whatever he is knowing. That is the kind of statement he wants to make. Then the Purvapakshi says, yadi brahmane vidyacharana sampat sambhavati vratyepi sambhavet vratyopi brahmanaha sopyastu vidyacharana sampannaha. So what is he saying? In the previous statement, there is something called as a very generalized term is there, which is Brahmana. Actually, the person who is making this statement wants to say that this particular Brahmana who went through lot of tapasya, who went through lot of training in Gurukula, is a very pious one. He has lot of wisdom and he is practicing whatever he learned. That is what he wants to state. But this person, the opponent, is only taking one part of it, the Brahmana, the word Brahman, and he's saying, if you say that this particular Brahmana is a very is a person who has lot of wisdom and who is practicing whatever he knows, then whoever is a Brahmana should be something like that. So Vratya, the term Vratya means a person who is not having any samskara, who does not perform any prescribed rituals to a Brahmana, who is not a learned person, who is not an Achara Shila, who is not who is not even initiated with Gayatri, that kind of a person is called as Vratya. Then he is also Jatiya Brahmana, he is also born in a Brahmana Kutumba, then he will also be a Vidyacharana Sampannaha. Then he should also be a person with a lot of wisdom and practices. So that is this kind of a deviation, this kind of manipulation is called as Samanya Chala. Hope you have understood. Now we'll move on to the third kind of the Chala, which is called as Upachara Chala. Before understanding what is Upachara Chala, we have to understand the process of verbal testimony. According to Tarka Shastra, how Shabdabodha happens. Shabdabodha is nothing but verbal cognition. For example, now I am speaking in English. you all are understanding whatever I'm speaking. So this process is called as Shabda Bodha. So in Shabda Bodha, knowing the meaning of the words is very, very important. And this is called as Vritti. And this Vritti is of two types, direct and indirect. The direct Vritti, or the direct relation between words and meanings, is called as Shakti, and the indirect relation between words and meanings is called as Lakshana. Okay? Now, here you take this statement. Sri Rama is the lion of the jungle. You just assume that this is a portion in a kavya, in a poem. Sri Rama is the lion of the jungle. Lion, the intended meaning in this poem for the word lion is king, because lion rules jungle and Rama rules Ayodhya. So that is the similarity. So the word lion's intention is in the king, and in the same way, the word jungle is intended towards Ayodhya kingdom. But the Purvapakshi, who wants to deviate the discussion, what he says, how can Rama become lion? He is a human being. So this kind of a reply to these kinds of statements is called as Upacharachala. Okay. So here, even though the Purvapakshi knows the intention of the Siddhanti, he knows this is a poetic verse. In a poetic verse, in sometimes we use some Lakshanika padas, some intended words, indirectly related words. So according to the situation, we have to understand the meaning of those words. He knows everything, but he wants to deviate the discussion. Why? Because he wants to win over his opponent. So he wants to deviate. So what he does, he says, how Rama can be a lion? He's a human being. Okay. Now, we shall take one another example here, which is directly from Vyasa Bhashya. So, as I have told you that this vritti is of two types, Shakti and Lakshana. The vritti is nothing but the relationship between word and its meaning. So, it is of two types, Shakti and Lakshana. For example, you take this sentence, Gangayam Ghoshaha. This is very, very famous statement used while explaining the concept of Shakti and Lakshana. Ganga is water. Ghosha is a village. Here, my intention while I use this statement is near the waters, near the Ganga river, there is a village. This is the intended meaning. So that is why he is saying, Yatha Lakshanaya Gangayam Ghoshaha ityukte na Gangayam Ghoshas sambhavati. So this is the reply given by the opponent. So he is literally taking Ganga to be a flowing river, and he is asking, how can a village be in a flowing river? Na Gangayam Ghoshas sambhavati. There cannot be a village in a flowing river. So that is the kind of reply the opponent is giving. So this is called as Upacharachala. In the same way, if the Siddhanti is saying Gangayam Meenaha, now the intention is direct. Literally, he is saying in a flowing river there is a fish. But the opponent now takes that to be an indirect relation. Means now he is twisting the word Ganga. Ganga might have two meanings, direct one and the indirect one. The direct one is flowing river. The indirect one is Ganga Tiram. Ganga Tiram means the bank of Ganga. So the word Ganga can also be used for the banks of Ganga. So when a person is using the statement Gangayam Meenaha in Shakti, then its meaning is there are fish, live fish in a flowing river. That's it. But if the opponent is twisting the word Ganga, and the meaning he is intending is the banks of river Ganga, then in the bank of river Ganga, how will a fish live? It can't live. It can only live inside the river. So that is the kind of narrative he is building. So these kinds of deviations or these kinds of narratives which are built to actually deviate the what you say main subject of the argument, that is called as chalam. Nowadays in our TV debates or our political debates, we see many examples. They use the concept chalam to deviate their opponents. Hope you have understood this. Now I will be going to the next concept. I will not take more than 5 to 6 minutes to tell about this concept. This is called Jaati. And the concept Jaati is used in both Vitanda and also Jalpa, because the intention of the user of Jalpa type of argumentation and Vitanda type of argumentation is not establishing truth, but to deviate his opponent and win upon his opponent. That is his ultimate goal. So Jati is such a thing. We shall just go through the Lakshanam also once. Sadharmya Vaidharmyabhyam Pratyavasthanam Jati. By using similarity and dissimilarity, deviating your opponent and winning over him is something like Jati. When we go to the example, you will understand it better. So the example is something like this. This is a Shastriya example. It's not very a Laukika example, but kindly bear with me. So the statement is something like this. Anityaha shabdaha kritakatvat vyatirekena vyomavat. So what is he saying? Sound is not eternal. Anityaha is not being eternal. Shabdaha anityaha kritakatvat. Kritakatvam means because it is made, it is created. Sound is not eternal because it is created. And he's also giving an example, because example is a very integral part of Panchavayava. He's giving an example. The example is Vyatireka. Vyatirekena Vyomavat. It is a Vyatireka Drishtanta. Example is of two types. Anvaya Drishtanta and Vyatireka Drishtanta. So we are going through the Vyatireka Drishtanta. Unlike space, Vyoma we can take as space. So he's saying Shabda is not eternal because it is created, unlike space. What does that mean? Space is not created, hence it is eternal. So unlike space, space is eternal. Unlike space, sound is not eternal. That is what the Siddhanti wants to say. Now, the Purvakshi is twisting it by using similarity here. See, we'll see what he is saying. Yadi Nityakasha Vaidharmyat Shabdaha. Yadi Nityakasha Vaidharmyat Anityasya Shabdaha. According to your statement, you are saying that because of the dissimilarity between Akasha and Shabda, you are stating that Shabda is Anitya. So, to prove that Shabda is Anitya or not eternal, you are using a concept called Vaidharmya. Vaidharmya is dissimilarity. So, that is why in the first statement, what we told, Shabda or the sound is not eternal because it is created, unlike space, we told. So the word unlike is Vaidharmya or the dissimilarity. That is the word which is stating dissimilarity between what? Shabda and space. Now the Prativadi is saying, Yadi Nityakasha Vaidharmyad Anityasyat Shabdaha. You are using the concept dissimilarity to prove that Shabda is not eternal. Then I will take a similarity between space and Shabda. The similarity is Tada Akashena Amurtatva Sadharmya. So, Amurtatvam is non-tangibility. You cannot move Shabda. You cannot touch Shabda. In the same way, you cannot move space. You cannot touch space. So, Amurtatvam is a quality which is there, which is located both in space and also sound. So I am now taking a similarity between these two things, and I want to state that sound is also eternal. So you were saying that sound is not eternal because it is created unlike space. Now I am saying that sound is eternal because both space and sound are non-tangible entities. So this kind of a interaction where the debater wants to deviate the course of argumentation, there is no reasoning here, there is no logic here, because the argumentator who is deviating don't want to establish truth. His only intention is to win over his opponent. So he is using jati, the concept of jati, to actually deviate him. So this is how both Chhala and Jati have a very important, prominent role in two kinds of debates, which are Jalpa and Vitanda. And I want to say that Gautama Maharshi devoted most of his grantha in developing these debating and reasoning and debating techniques through his work, which is called as Nyaya Sutram. Sir, yeah, it's 11:45.
Good. Thank you very much, Suryanarayana garu. It was very, very lucid, and you have a great teaching skill. Your students are very lucky. You have brought out both the Chala and Jati aspects. There were some questions in the Q&A box. One of the questions is about Vakchalam. Krishna Chaitanya Kopishetti wants to ask, can Sa Atma Tattvamasi, can interpreting this as Sa Atma Atatvamasi, as a prominent school of Vedanta does, be categorized as Vakchalam?
Yes, sir. It is a kind of Vakchalam. So they are using the concept of Sandhi to actually give another connotation to the statement. It is Vakchalam.
Okay. So that is one question. And there are questions, I think, about, yeah, those were already answered, I think, by Srinivas Garu. So with this, I think there are no more questions about this particular aspect. So these are examples of consciously misleading arguments, both Chala and Jati, and these are very useful in legal discourses also, and in parliamentary discourses and other places also. When the other side advocate knows this kind of vocabulary and analysis, he can point out that these are the methods used by my opponent lawyer, their rival lawyer, in the arguments they can use. But unfortunately, in the law colleges also, while teaching argument and argumentation, they are not teaching all these aspects from Indian Vada Shastra. But I think the classes being organized by Srinivas Garu and Suryanarayana Garu will be taken more and more by our legislators of both the state and central levels, and the advocates in the courts, and also the students that are being encouraged to participate in debates in their schools, colleges, and universities. They will all learn about these available techniques of analysis. Actually, what these are doing is they are analyzing the other person's arguments. What are the misleading methods that are used by the other side